Below is a long-form, in-depth feature article on Jerry, Yan and Tong Liya written in an analytical storytelling style. It is structured, detailed, and suitable for narration or adaptation into a long YouTube video or blog feature length. Note this is a very extensive article and may be presented in parts if you plan to publish it online. Jerry, Yan and Tong Liya, Two Icons, Two Eras, and the Evolution of Asian Drama. Storytelling. Asian drama has never been static, it evolves with culture, technology, audience expectations, and generational shifts in how love, pain, identity, and resilience are portrayed. Across these changes, a few actors rise above trends and become emblems of their time, not merely popular stars, but emotional reference points for millions of viewers. Jerry, Yan and Tong Liya are two such figures. They come from different backgrounds, different regions, and different storytelling eras. Jerry, Yan rose to prominence during the early 2000s when Asian dramas were built on grand romantic fantasy and larger-than-life emotional intensity. Tong Liya emerged in an era defined by realism, emotional nuance, and women-centered narratives that prioritize growth and agency over idealization. This article explores their journeys not as a hypothetical pairing, but as parallel legacies, two artists who in their own ways shaped how audiences across Asia understand romance, pain, and humanity. Part 1. ERA defines everything. The early 2000s. Jerry, Yan's world. Jerry, Yan's rise coincided with a pivotal moment in Asian pop culture. In the early 2000s, television dramas were the dominant form of entertainment. Weekly broadcasts created long-term emotional investment. Romance was idealized, dramatic, and often tragic. Male leads were written as emotionally wounded, distant, and intense. Audiences didn't just watch dramas, they lived with them. This was the era when love stories felt mythical, and Jerry, Yan became one of its most powerful symbols. The 2010s and beyond. Tong Liya's world. Tong Liya emerged in a vastly different landscape. Streaming platforms reshaped viewing habits. Dramas diversified into realism, family, career, and social themes. Female leads gained narrative agency, emotional restraint, and authenticity, replaced exaggerated melodrama. This era demanded actresses who could portray real women in real circumstances. Tong Liya became one of the most respected faces of this shift. Part 2. Jerry, Yan, the face of romantic fantasy, early life and path to stardom. Born in 1977 in Taiwan, Jerry Yan's early life was marked by hardship, financial struggles, and personal responsibility shaped his worldview long before fame arrived. Unlike stars groomed from a young age, Jerry Yan entered entertainment later. First as a model, this late start gave him something invaluable: emotional gravity. He didn't perform emotion, he carried it. Meteor Garden and the birth of an icon. In 2001, Meteor Garden changed Asian television history as Dao Ming-si. Jerry Yan portrayed a character that would become one of the most iconic male leads ever written: arrogant, yet emotionally broken, cruel in behavior, desperate in love, wealthy, but profoundly lonely. Jerry Yan's performance was raw and unfiltered. His Dao Ming-si was not gentle or polished. He was explosive, volatile, and emotionally overwhelming. Yet beneath the anger was vulnerability, so intense that audiences forgave everything. This role sparked pan-Asian fandom, popularized Taiwanese dramas across borders, cemented the cold male lead with a soft heart trope for many viewers. Dao Ming-si wasn't just a character, he was their first unforgettable drama love. Jerry Yan's acting style, emotional extremes. Jerry Yan's performances are defined by high emotional intensity, expressive body language, visible pain, and longing, minimal emotional restraint. He represents an era when love on screen was meant to hurt beautifully. His characters loved completely, recklessly, and destructively. This style resonated deeply with audiences who wanted emotional catharsis. Life after Meteor Garden. While Meteor Garden defined Jerry Yan's legacy, it also became a double-edged sword. He spent years trying to step out of Dao Ming-si's shadow. In later works, Jerry Yan explored mature romance, psychological complexity, softer, reflective masculinity. Though the industry moved on to new trends, Jerry Yan remained a nostalgic anchor forever associated with the emotional peak of early Asian drama. Romance. Part 3. Tong Liya, the embodiment of modern grace, background, and cultural roots. Born in 1983 in Xinjiang, China, Tong Liya comes from an ethnic minority background. Trained in dance before acting, she developed exceptional body awareness, posture, and emotional control from the beginning. She carried a quiet elegance that felt earned rather than styled. Rise through steady excellence. Unlike instant idol fame, Tong Liya's career grew Steadily, through supporting roles, ensemble casts, realistic family, and career dramas, she became known not for spectacle but for credibility. Her performances conveyed emotional intelligence, psychological realism, strength without aggression, acting style, strength in stillness. Tong Liya's power lies in subtle facial expressions, emotional restraint, grace under pressure, quiet resilience. She doesn't dominate scenes, she anchors them. Her characters often face marriage struggles, career dilemmas, social pressure, emotional compromise. And she portrays these conflicts without melodrama, making them feel painfully real, roles that defined her legacy. Tong Liya became synonymous with modern Chinese womanhood, complex, intelligent, and emotionally grounded. Her characters love deeply, but don't disappear into romance, suffer, but don't lose dignity, grow rather than endure endlessly. She represents a shift away from sacrificial heroines toward self-aware protagonists. Part 4. Romance. Two very different languages. Jerry Yan's romance, intense, all-consuming, emotionally extreme, driven by longing and obsession. His love stories feel like storms. Tong Liya's romance, realistic, negotiated, emotionally mature, rooted in mutual respect. Her love stories feel like lived experience, both resonate because they speak to different emotional needs. Part 5. Gender and storytelling evolution. Jerry Yan's era-centered male emotional dominance, female leads often reacted to male turmoil. Tong Liya's era centers female perspective. Women drive the narrative, make choices, and define boundaries. This shift reflects broader cultural change across Asian societies. Part 6. Cultural impact and legacy. Jerry Yan's legacy, symbol of early Asian drama, romance, emotional blueprint for male leads, nostalgic icon across generations. Tong Liya's legacy, model of modern female storytelling, standard for realism and dignity, cultural reference for mature drama. Narratives, they don't compete, they complete the timeline. Part 7. Why they still matter. In an industry obsessed with trends, Jerry Yan and Tong Liya endure because they represent emotional authenticity. They shaped how stories are told. They resonate beyond language and borders. New actors rise, but icons remain. Final reflection. Jerry Yan and Tong Liya are not from the same era, but they speak the same emotional truth. One represents the dreams we once had about love, the other represents the wisdom we gained about life. Together, they tell the story of Asian drama itself, from fantasy to reality, from longing to understanding, from intensity to grace, and that is why decades apart both remain unforgettable.